York County is so much more than just a stop for gas on I-80. 17 County is filled with unique individuals with unique stories just waiting to be told. Welcome to the 17 County Podcast with your host, Emily Perry.
This is 17 County Podcast. Thank you for tuning in for today's episode. Be sure to like, subscribe, and listen. This helps our podcast grow, and we thank you for your continued support. We would also like to take the time to thank our York County Development Corporation members, AgriProducts, Cornerstone Bank, Nebraska Public Power District, and Central Valley Ag. Without these great members, we wouldn't be able to focus on the growth and development of York County here at the YCDC. So thank you. Let's get to the podcast. So today we have Carrie Colburn on our podcast. With decades of experience in management and marketing, Carrie Colburn puts her unique skill set in digital media and customer service to work for businesses and organizations large and small. She uses strong leadership skills and a results-driven focus to initiate projects and see them to completion. Carrie develops one-on-one relationships with clients, taking problems off their shoulders and helping them succeed. That is a mouthful.
And so kind. Thank you. But yes, that's what we aim to do.
That's awesome. And this is, okay, let's back up. I'm getting too excited. So let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
Tell me about you. Where are you from?
I am born and raised in Nebraska. I grew up in Lincoln. And fast forward a few years, I moved to York County in 2009. So my husband and I have been here since, and we love it. It's become home.
Yeah, absolutely. What brought you to the area?
Honestly, it was a place that we could both live and work. I was working for the World Herald in Omaha, and he had just started his business. He does center pivots and grain bin construction. People have probably seen his trucks, Jesse the Builder. And so honestly, it was a place that we could both live and work. During my time at the World Herald, we were employee-owned at that point in the process, and they had acquired the York and Grand Island publications. And so after 2.5 years of dating long distance, we decided to close that space, and I was able to move out here, spend a lot of time in the newspaper industry. And this is just where we planted our roots together and started a family, and it's really become home.
Yeah, absolutely. And journalism, obviously, is kind of your home.
Yes.
It's been your home for a while. How did you decide that was something you were interested in?
Sure.
How did you decide to go into it?
Like most high school seniors, I did not really have a clear path, but I loved the classes that I took in high school that were English-based or journalism-based. I was on yearbook. So when I started college, I took Intro to Advertising and also Intro to Audiology. It's like, maybe I want to go in the medical field. Clearly, I picked the latter. I was at the College of Journalism, but actually it was more of an advertising focus. I did their mass communications program, so it was really agency-based. You learned all the aspects of what it would be like to work in an agency. I landed at the World Herald through a professional connection I met at one of those college professional networking things. Yeah, he actually worked at an agency. I shouted him some, and he gave them my name. So it was somewhat accidental that I landed at the World Herald, but I was really excited to be there and have a job at a great company out of college. And then from there, while it was a journalism background and I eventually became publisher, a lot of publishers actually come from the ad side because so much of what you do is client and revenue based, just like any business. And so I spent a lot of time working with small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and that's really what I loved the most. But had my hands in a lot of different things over my time there. But that's kind of how I got into journalism, was just kind of accidentally fell in love with it.
Yeah. And this was at UNL, right?
Yes. Yep. So I graduated from UNL and then started at the World Herald in 2006.
Wow. And then you came to York.
Yep, in 2009. And I spent some time in advertising here at the News Times. This is circa 2009. So while most media outlets and newspapers had some sort of web presence, it was nothing like it is today. So after about a year here in York, I moved to our corporate team. And this is where really the digital side of my professional experience started to grow. I worked for several years traveling to the papers that we owned in our newspaper family, primarily across Nebraska and Iowa, helping them launch digital programs. So putting ads on their websites, which we all see now. Imagine a time when websites didn't have ads on them. It existed. Helped launching email programs, newsletter programs, social pages, worked with their news teams on the idea that you can post content to your website before it goes into the printed product. Believe it or not, that was a hard concept to, for newsrooms to adapt to. So spent a lot of years traveling to our different publications and working with their teams doing that. Then started to have a family, spent some time in Grand Island at the Grand Island Independent, 4 years-ish as their digital director. Short stint on our corporate team again, and then was publisher here in York in 2016. Took on the Columbus paper until I retired from newspaper about a year ago. So yeah, it was a great time. I think 17 years in total, not counting the time I spent at my college newspaper.
Wow.
That's
a big chunk of time.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and so you retire from the newspaper, and then you start what you're doing now, which is amazing.
Colburn Solutions. Yes, a new venture, a new baby. And so, I took some time and really just kind of thought about what I wanted to do. And again, this was an accidental thing that's turning into an accidental love. I started taking on a few projects from colleagues that I had known and thought to myself, one of the things that I saw that most businesses ran into is a good majority of them know exactly what they want to do. Mm-hmm. It's just the executing of it. And so that's the role that I hope to fill. So I call it consulting and project management. But what I really hope to do is fill that void. So a business wants to explore a new product line, or they want to explore a new market area, or they want to have a new workflow, and they know what they want it to look like. They just can't put those bolts together. Mm-hmm. On the digital side, it might be, I know I need to update my website, but I don't know what needs done to it. Or I want to explore new web partners. Who might those be? So I'm that middle person that helps them connect those dots, does the research, puts together who could your partners be, what could the plan look like. And in some cases, once that decision's been made, I'm the one that helps them fulfill it. So they get to the end goal, which they always knew that they wanted to be at, but I come in temporarily and help them, get that project done, where they themselves might not have the time to do it, they don't have the staff to do it, or to hire someone to do it, you might not need that person for 40 hours or be able to find the skill set.
Right.
So it's really why I call it consulting and project management. And how I operate is as an extension of your team for a short period of time to really get you where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that there's a lot of different things going on in the community, a lot of different projects. If someone was interested in having you as a consultant, at what point in the project do you prefer that they contact you and get you involved?
Really any point. I've met with some people and it's truly just a brainstorming, and they might not be ready for me yet. Mm-hmm. Other people are ready to go right away, and this is what I need, and can you help me do it? And so it's really up to each business, but a lot of it is it just starts with a simple discussion of what you might need and how I might be able to help. Mm-hmm. And every situation and desire is different. There's a few times I've been reached out to, and it's something that's not in my skill set. Mm-hmm. So, if it's not something that I'm able to do, I certainly try to point them in the right direction and get them along their way. But more times than not, we're able to find a way that I can really help them really get to their end goal that they already have in mind. And sometimes people need that end goal. I feel like I need to do this, but I don't know what that is.
Right.
But a lot of our business owners know exactly what they want to do. It's the amount of time and manpower that's holding them back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know from experience, you've worked with small businesses.
Yes.
Have you worked with any major, large companies? Is that something that you're open to?
Absolutely. Not in terms of a huge, multi-location, lots of team members, no. I would be open to that. Mm-hmm. What I have found is a lot of those companies have those resources within their team.
Right.
So they're not as, for the void that I am trying to fill, they're not as in need of that. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't be open to it or be able to provide them a solution. It would probably just be a lot more specific. So that's why my focus is kind of those small to medium-sized businesses, just because, again, working in smaller markets the majority of my career, those are the businesses that have those same great ideas. It's just the staffing that they don't have compared to what a larger organization does.
Right. And I want to go back to something you said earlier, and I just want to amplify it. But a lot of how you got where you are is through connections.
Yes.
And we stress connections so much.
Yes.
And I mean, you're living proof of it.
Yes.
I mean, connections can really do a lot for you.
Yes. I mean, I value connections too. I think on the personal side, for me, they're so fulfilling. I love getting to know people and making that connection and seeing how we fit together. But also in life, those connections that you make can really help you propel you in different ways. And I think the more you can have those connections, just the stronger foundation you have in all aspects of life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that we have a pretty strong listener base of late high school, early college, still very in that exploratory phase. What advice would you have for them if they're looking into project management or journalism or any of your past career experiences?
Sure. You know, as a person that went in to college with an idea of what I wanted to do, or arguably two ideas, like I shared, you know, my journey, and if you would have asked me or any of my good friends, would have had me living in Chicago, a much larger Midwestern city. And obviously I'm not, and I love it. And part of that vision was because I had grown up in Lincoln. So I thought, let's go bigger. But for me, in my career journey, so I would just say the advice would be is to keep your eyes open. And if you like it and you're enjoying it, and it doesn't necessarily imagine your vision, that's not bad either. That's part of your path unfolding for you. I was able to move along in my career at what was a much more rapid pace in some regards because I was more visible in a smaller community and the impact I was making was more visible. And so that really helped me. It helped me succeed. It helped me get recognized sooner for the skills and abilities I had. Right. And so that's part of the advantage of what my path ended up leading me to down into a smaller market, I guess. And so to answer your question on advice, it would be, you know, to trust what you like. You know, you want to have a goal and a vision and to strive for. But as your path unfolds, if you're happy and enjoying what you're doing, even though that might not be the original vision, you know, your path is still unfolding for you for a reason.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's powerful. Yeah, absolutely. You're obviously very, very passionate about what you do. What would you say drives that passion? What keeps you, going at it every day?
I like people. I really like people. I enjoy working with people. I enjoy talking with people. I enjoy meeting with people. I like sharing ideas, or when you brainstorm or you look into something and it's like, we could do it this way, or what about this? I truly thrive off of, connections, which is what, we've touched on already. So, and I like helping people. I like doing something that feels of value and is of importance to them, to their business, what they're trying to accomplish. And so I just get a lot of personal energy out of that. So that's why it's kind of it's a nice natural fit for me, because I thrive off those things.
At Cornerstone Bank, we are committed to providing you the best in banking products and service. With 46 locations throughout Nebraska, we are dedicated to serve you. Cornerstone Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
So I know that you are extremely involved in pretty much anything you can think of. What all are you involved in outside of work within the community?
Sure. I sit on the York Hospital Board and have for a few years. I really enjoy that because the York General team is so intelligent, So I selfishly enjoy it because I feel like I learn so much from them. But I also love to learn, and so it's an industry I'm not familiar with. But I also feel like I bring a great contribution just from the seat I sit in life, but then also the experience I can share. I serve on the CASA for York County Board and have for several years. That is a more hands-on board, so I really enjoy all the things that I can contribute to help that organization succeed. I'm assuming most people are familiar with CASA, but it's court-appointed special advocates. So for youth in York County that find themselves in the court system due to no fault of their own, so some situation, these aren't troubled youth, it's trouble surrounding them. We provide a court-appointed special advocate, so an adult volunteer that is their voice. There are different people that are also looking out for them, but the CASA specifically looks out for them where they should be as the case that's affecting them moves through the court system. Some CASAs are assigned to a case over several years. So our volunteers are extremely important. We need more of them. York County has, I think, 87 total, and we're serving maybe half of them.
Wow.
So if that speaks to anyone else's heart, CASA is in need of a lot of volunteers. We are higher than any of the counties surrounding us, and we don't really know why. Do we have better eyes on our kids? Could be maybe the best reason, right. But we don't know. It's all speculation. But so that's a really a board that means a lot because we're a small community. Your friends, your neighbors, the kids in your kids' class. And so yeah, I am also involved in that organization.
And quick question, if someone was interested in becoming a volunteer, what would that time commitment look like and how would they go about contacting you for that?
Sure. So I would direct them to Elizabeth Hain she's the director of CASA for York County. Her offices are in the courthouse, but you could contact her via the website. And the process starts, you go through a training first. So you're fully prepared to serve this role. And then before, we just don't throw you in. As we get cases, you get the yes or no on if you want to take that case or if that's a case that's right for you. And so as the advocate, we line you up really good with a case that you're going to feel passionate about, feel like you can be successful in. And then it really is, there's no way to say how long you're going to be on that case. But most people only have one case at a time. So in that sense, it's manageable. But some cases go for several years.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's intense.
Yeah, not all of them, but some do,
Yeah.
Some do.
And those kids need people to represent them.
Yep.
So, okay. So, CASA, hospital.
Yep.
What else is there?
So I'm a new member. The paper's always been a member, but I'm excited to be personally a member again with Colburn Solutions of your organization, YCDC, as well as the Chamber. So excited to be back involved with those. My kids attend St. Joseph's School, so involved with the organizations that they have there, enjoy that. So yeah. I feel like I'm forgetting something, and so if I am...
There's always things. That's okay. Yeah, and I feel like you are helping us with one of our childcare boards.
Yes.
And I feel like you're kind of a temporary, weird board member.
Yes. I will say things when I feel like they need said, but I'm not technically a board member. Yes. So, yes, the York County Kids, which is a new board here in York that you're also involved in, which has a huge task, and all the board members have a great heart to take this on, of looking at starting a nonprofit childcare here in York. And I am the project manager for that board. So very involved, very helpful. And what I love about that role is I hope what it ends up doing is letting those board members, be involved and lead with their heart and help contribute, but not leave those meetings with a bunch of work to do. And that's where I come in and I fulfill that role, being the project manager for that board, but, also get to be involved and see it be successful. So that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. And one thing that you've been very helpful with for York County Kids as a board member is organizing thoughts. I mean, when you're getting ready to get a project, to take it off the ground, get it moving, there's so many things going on, and trying to organize it in a way that makes sense, that you have all your ducks in a row, is hard.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
And
work.
so you don't feel gridlocked either. You feel like you have a path forward. Because sometimes when you have this, it's like, which way do I go first? So yes, that's what I hope to help alleviate in terms of that pressure on board members, because these are all people with everyday jobs too. And so when they're, dedicating their time, if I can help take that extra stuff, I enjoy doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're very good at it.
Well, thank you.
So if somebody wanted to contact you, wanted to see if you could help with one of their projects, how would they go about doing that?
Sure. There's a couple different ways that you can check out my website, colburnsolutions.com, just like how it sounds. There's an easy form on there that you can fill out, which really that's just generating an email to me. My phone number is also on there, so they can give me a call. Pretty easy to find.
Yeah, and I mean, you can always reach out to the YCDC as well, and we can direct you. We can always share your contact information too. What's next? I know you have some pretty exciting things going on, so what's coming up?
Well, I will probably have a location here soon. I bought a building here in York, right next to Captain Redbeard's and Clinch Law, that building that had been vacant. It was formerly Abbott Studios, and I believe, there was a staffing business, I think, in there at one point too, but kind of right there. And so looking at turning that into some office space, which will be great. I love having a spot, to set up and work. And we live in rural York County. And so, I've become very familiar with our coffee shops here in town, and they're all wonderful. But it's going to be really great to have a space and have a place to meet with people. And
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely reach out to us. We can put you into contact. But moving away from business and work stuff, let's talk about just York County in general.
Okay.
So there's a lot of really small communities around here. Do you have anything that you'd like to highlight for people with some of the small communities? I know there's so many events that everything is going on all the time. And I know that you're a little bit more familiar with different communities than I am.
Yes. I live just outside of Bradshaw, so I am probably the most familiar with Bradshaw. It's a lovely, lovely place, great people. We're about 1.5 miles outside of town. We frequent the Bulldog Roadhouse quite often. Andrea, the owner now for a little over a year, has done a wonderful job. It looks so nice and fresh in there. And it did before too, but she just added a different design touch that reflects her personality a lot. And so, we frequent there a lot. I love all the communities. I don't get to all of them as much as I used to, but yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I know they have, Henderson days and I just feel like there's always something going on.
Yeah.
If you had one place in York that you wanted to highlight, or your favorite place to go with your kids, what would you say that is? York County, not just York.
Oh, that's a good question.
I know, I'm putting you on the spot.
Gosh, it probably depends on the time of year.
Fair.
And what we're doing. I will say, as someone who's from out of town, meaning not living in York, especially in the winter, I love the addition of Fun City.
Yes.
Because if we're between activities or have a little time to kill, I love that with our membership, we can go in there, and while it's Fun City, to me, it's really an indoor playground. It's an indoor park.
Yeah.
And so we love the parks in all the communities and in York, and we spend a lot of time in them. But in the winter, it gets cold, and, or there's snow, which has recently just melted, thankfully. But from just a lifestyle standpoint, having Fun City has been a great addition in terms of just having a place to go, to not only use it for what's intended, but if we have, 30 minutes between activities, we can go and play and run off some energy. So really enjoy that. My kids love going to the auditorium, whether into that building for the Children's Museum or just the open gym time that they have. And I just love how it looks since it's been redone. It's beautiful.
Yes.
It's the same old building, but just shined up and looks great. So we really enjoy going there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And everything Parks and Rec. I feel like Cherie, the director, is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, she makes those programs really, really good. So we will go into hot potato. Really quick, is first thing that comes to your mind, fall or spring?
Fall.
Okay. Do you have a reason for that?
The weather's better.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, absolutely. Phone call or email?
Phone call.
Okay. Sweet or sour?
Sweet.
Sweet or spicy?
Spicy.
Okay. Travel or stay home?
Both.
Fair. I might agree with that one, yeah. Movies or TV?
Depends on what I'm watching.
Fair one.
I like both. Yeah, it just depends on what I'm watching.
And streaming is kind of made things
Yes, like if you stream like one of those like mini series, it's like, and they're just like 3 episodes. It's like I watched a movie. So it's kind of the same.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. Music or podcast?
Music? No offense to podcasts.
Yeah. We were just talking about the Kelsey Brothers podcast.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful stuff.
This will get more listens.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Farm or city?
Now it would be farm. Used to be city. Now it's farm.
Fair enough. So for our lovely listeners, do you have any parting words of wisdom about York County or about your career, whatever the case may be?
I don't know, like our listeners are here, right? So they get this, but I will share one of the things that I'll say to my friends. I have a really great group of friends, and the majority of which live in Omaha or Lincoln. One of our other good friends is an OBGYN in Columbus. So we're the two that have kind of ventured out west. What I always say about York and York County is it, especially for a family, it has everything that you'd want in a big city in terms of activities, and especially activities that your kids might be into. There's not a lot that your child might be interested in that you can't find here. Yeah. And I think that brings a great quality of life. We have great schools, great healthcare, great activities. And so, when we talk about it, and I'm always trying to get them to move here. I say that, we can do all these things because once we're in town, but people that live in town, you're like 2 minutes from all of them.
Yeah.
So, on Thursday nights, like tonight, Thursday nights is our busy night, but we'll go. My little boys have gymnastics. My daughter has dance. And then my oldest son has wrestling. And that'll all happen in the span of tonight, but it's manageable. And because it's all, and like they stack up just like that. So, yeah.
Busy, but you wouldn't be able to do that in a bigger town.
Yes.
So, absolutely. All right. Well, I think that wraps us up.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know I learned a lot, and I'm sure that our listeners did too.
Thank you for having me.
One last plug. If you would like to get in touch with Carrie Colburn, you can reach out to the YCDC or go to her website at
colburnsolutions.com.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
In closing, we would like to once again take the time to thank our members, the people that help us drive change. We would like to thank York State Bank, Henderson State Bank, York General, Meade Lumber Company Incorporated, and York News Times. And thank you, our listeners, for tuning in. Catch you next time.